Hello, students. This is your English lesson. Today, we are going to study a poem, The Listeners from Oxford Modern English Book 7, and this is B part of unit number 4. So, we start our lesson. First of all, summary of the poem. This poem is written by Walter de la Mare. In many of his poems, there is a mystery which readers must solve as best they can. This is one of his best known poems, and the reader is left with many questions. Here in this poem, he starts the poem with an unnamed figure, the traveler, who knocks on the door of a house in the moonlight and asks if there is anyone inside. The traveler's horse grazes in the quiet forest while the traveler waits for a response. A bird flies out of a small tower on the house and over the traveler's head. The traveler knocks again, more forcefully, and repeats his question. No one comes down from the house to meet him. No one even leans out of the window. He stands there and waiting for the answer. But there was a group of ghostly beings inside the house. These listeners stand in the moonlight as they listen to the human voice coming from outside. Outside the house, the traveler feels a strange presence and his horse is undisturbed but continues to graze in the dark forest. The traveler suddenly beats on the door again, even loudly than before. No one answered him. The listener don't make motion to this. The listener hears him jump up onto his horse and the sound of the horse shoes on the stone path as the traveler rides away. Now come to page number 52, words to know. Chapped, chewed, cropping, biting off and eating the tops of plants. Descended, came down, ferny, covered in ferns, green, flowerless plants that often grow in forested areas. Hearkening, paying close attention, listening carefully, neath, underneath, perplexed, baffled, confused, phantom, a ghost, or something that is imaginary, not real, sill, a shelf-like ledge below a window, smote, hit hard, pounded, spake, a very old-fashioned way of writing spoke, the past tense of speak, stirrup, a loop with a flat base that supports the rider's foot on each side of the saddle. Turf, grass and the surface layer of earth held together by roots. Turret, a cylindrical tower rising from a building. Now come to the reading. Is there anybody there? Said the traveler, knocking on the moonlit door, and his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest's ferny floor, and a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveler's head, and he smote upon the door again a second time. Is there anybody there? He said, but no one descended to the traveler. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes, where he stood perplexed and still, but only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveller's call, and he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness, answering his cry, while his horse moved, cropping the dark turf, neath the starred and leafy sky, for he suddenly smote on the door even louder and lifted his head. Tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word, he said, never the least stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house. From the one man left awake, ere they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plunging hoofs were gone. Now come to the exercises. A. Understanding the poem. Answer the following questions. A. When and where does the action in the poem take place? Answer. The action in the poem takes place at night in a forest outside a house. It is obviously not the modern day because the traveler travels by horse. B. Which words or phrases tell us that the plants around the house have overgrown? Answer. The phrase leaf fringed sill tells us that the plants around the house have overgrown. C. Which word in line 5 of the poem suggests that this house is quite big and grand? Answer. The word turret in line 5 of the poem suggests that this house is quite big and grand. D. What is stirred and shaken by the traveller's shouts? Answer. The air is shaken and stirred by the traveller's shouts. E. Which lines tell us that the traveller had made a promise that he would come to the house? Answer. The lines that tell us that the traveller had made a promise that he would come to the house are tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word. F. Which word is repeated at the beginning and ending of the poem and what impact does it have? Answer. The word silence is repeated at the beginning and end of the poem. It reinforces the lack of sound due to there being no one there. G. Which words are used to describe the following? 1. The door, moonlit. The traveler's eyes, grey. The turf, dark. The forest floor, ferny. The house, lone. The hoofs, plunging. The sill, leaf fringed. The sky is described as stirred and leafy. These questions are more difficult. Discuss them first. H. The poet has created a creepy atmosphere through his word choices and his use of imagery. Which words and images create a creepy atmosphere? Answer. The following words and phrases create a creepy atmosphere. Is there anybody there? The sudden flight of the bird. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes. A host of phantom listeners, lone, empty, shadowy, and still. I. The poem gives us clues to the characters in the poem. Copy the table below and fill it in. Characters. What we know about them. Evidence from the poem. Here, the first character is the traveler. And what we know about them: a man traveling by horse wants to see the people who lived in the house, lonely and confused. Evidence from the poem: the traveler, his horse, he smote upon the door a second time, lonely, perplexed. Second character, the listeners, and what we know about them. Are they ghost or imagined from a different world, not like the man? Evidence from the poem: phantom, thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall. They hear that voice from the world of men, their strangeness. Character: them. Line 27. What we know about them. The traveler has promised to come to them. They are not there now. Evidence from the poem: tell them I came, that I kept my word. What is the rhyme scheme of the poem? Answer: 36 lines structured by an ABC-B rhyme scheme. Which sentence most accurately describes the form and viewpoint of this poem? 1. This is a narrative poem written in the third person. 2. This is a sonnet written in the third person. 3. This is a narrative poem written in the first person. So the correct answer is sentence 1. It describes the answer. Answer the following with reference to context. A. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwell in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. 1. What could phantom listeners refer to? Answer: ghosts or people the traveler imagines. 2. How does the poet make the listeners seem like real people? Answer: the poet makes the listeners seem the real people by describing them using verbs. They dwell in the houses and they stood listening, which makes us imagine their actions. 3. Who is being referred to as that voice from the world of men? Answer is the traveler. B. Working with words, epithets. In the poem, Walter de la Mare has used a compound epithet, two words which are joined by a hyphen and which describe a noun: leaf fringed. Leaf is a noun, but here it is used with fringed to describe the sill. The poet has also used single word epithets: moonlit door, phantom listeners. Use a word from each column and a noun of your choice to create some compound epithets. Example: ice-strewn pavement. Here, dirt encrusted, honey colored, ice strewn, jewel decked, leaf edged, sugar coated, sun white. Use three epithets that you have created in sentences of your own. Sentence number 1. His honey colored eyes were visible in the faint light of the room. Sentence 2. These peanuts are sugar coated. Sentence 3. The young lady decked herself up with fine jewels. Think of suitable compound epithets to describe the following. Example: a tiger, a man eating tiger. Here, a city. thickly populated city. A vase, free-standing vase, a bottle, long neck bottle, a monster, beetle-eating monster, a calf, newly born calf, a sailor, shore-bound sailor. Spelling. Add suffixes to the following: able, recognizable, excitable, comparable, mistakable, notable, preservable, presumable, measurable. Meant, encouragement, inducement, involvement, statement, management, requirement, excitement. Measurement, arrangement. 2. Some of the words below can take two of these suffixes: ing, full, of, measuring, comparing, ridiculing, ridiculous, nervous, disgracing, disgraceful, teasing, tasteful, resourceful, arranging, dissolving, spiteful, famous, hoping, hopeful. 3. Add the suffix us or able to the following: advantageous, outrageous, famous, spacious, gracious, gorgeous, courageous, nervous. Endurable, traceable, refusable, manageable, movable, excusable, damageable, replaceable, debatable, changeable. C. Learning about language. Future continuous tense. Change the following sentences given in the present continuous tense into the future continuous tense. A. They are making cakes in the kitchen. The future continuous tense will be they will be making cakes in the kitchen this afternoon. B. She is taking the dog for a walk. She will be taking the dog for a walk in the morning. C. I am not working in the hospital. I will not be working in the hospital next week. D. I am traveling around the world on a motorcycle. I will be traveling around the world on a motorcycle next year. E. The children are singing and dancing in the rain. The children will be singing and dancing in the rain now. Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.